Welcome to the latest installment in the TK1 Democracy Project. We are here interviewing 3 candidates for district representative for districts 41 and 42 for the primary election. We are currently here with Florence Miera, who is running in the 42nd district. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're running in the primary election right now.
Yes.
And there is some debate as to the importance of primaries and the upsides and downsides of this part of the election cycle. I just learned some new information today, which is that there are ways to vote outside of your party in the primary election, but I don't think a lot of people know that. So there's an argument that the primary system disenfranchises voters who don't have someone from their party running. Can you speak to that a little bit? What do you think the importance of this part of the election is?
So I do think that it is important that everyone gets to vote during this time. So one of the things that I'm seeing, to be honest, is a division even between the parties. So I wish that there was a way to just bring us all together. So like Democrats are Democrats and they stick together. What I am seeing is there's such a division. So as far as like the other parties being able to vote and go, is that what you're asking me? Like that, like for example, Republican Party can vote Democrat or?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Like if there's 2 Democratic candidates running, right, Republican voters might have a really hard time voting, especially if they don't know that it's a possibility.
Right.
Because that's a relatively new development.
Yes. And so I think the question is kind of tricky for me because I think that we in our nation, in our world, are super divided. So we have this extreme and this extreme. And so that's what I'm saying. If we were a more united party as Democrats, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But I think because there is a division even between the Democrats. As a local Taosenia, I feel like it's super hard for me to feel even connected to our Democratic Party, like to walk into the headquarters. And that's hard for me. And I've noticed that it's not just me, it's a lot of the Hispanic people and the Native American people. So in what is happening, I'm not sure how to really fix that, but I think we need to. We need to come together as one. And in the world, the same thing. There's so much division. We need to find a balance so that our world can get along better.
And in the interest of finding balance, what could you do to help voters have their voices heard if they feel like they aren't? Like a lot of, just kind of back to the previous question, I think, Taos is definitely majority Democrat, but for the Republican voters who do live here, they might find it difficult to participate in this democracy if there's nobody from their party running. So what could you do to help everyone have their voices heard to achieve that balance?
So I think listening to them, opening up a space, so conversation. Let's have conversation like you and I right now. I think it's super important that we talk to people and open it up to them. Come talk to me, come and meet with me. How do we find that balance? Even if I'm a Democrat and they're Republican, democracy says that whether they vote for me or not, I still have to listen to their views. And I am going to listen to their views. So I'm already asking people, come and talk to us. Because there is a way, as you know, right? They can go in and they can switch to Democrat, vote, and then switch back. So just having those conversations.
Yeah.
We have to do this as part of the democracy. Yes.
For sure. So your opponent in this race is from the same party as you, and for a lot of people who aren't following super closely or who don't know you too personally, it might be kind of hard to distinguish between your political platforms. So what are a few key things that differentiate you from your opponent?
I think the difference between us is that I've always been mental health in the mental health field. Mm-hmm. So my work for the past 20 years has been trauma-filled, trauma-based, and how do we address the intergenerational patterns of trauma in our community between the Native Americans, the Hispanics, and I have a true understanding of it because I live here and I've been working it. So I've been on the ground working for over 20 years in this field. And I know that she's a little bit more environmental focused. And I do believe that she's starting to learn more about food sovereignty and what we need in our community. So I think that's where the confusion comes in, is because she is starting to learn more about it. And I think that's good. I think we need leaders that know what's happening in our town. And like I said, for the past over 20 years, I have worked with kids that come from broken homes, poverty, domestic violence. They have trauma. With these fires and what we're seeing right now and COVID, it's worse. So the difference is that my focus is education and mental health. Mm-hmm. I've worked for the school systems for the past 15 years. I worked at UNM Taos, and I 100% believe that every student, despite their background, poverty, whatever they may have, that they should have those opportunities. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I have lived here, and over the past several years I've been the homeless liaison, and I have worked with a lot of the people that are coming in, and I find that there's a huge division between the people coming in and the locals from Taos Pueblo and Hispanic, and I think that I can close that gap. I already do. I meet with both sides all the time. And I think we need to do that, or Taos is going to divide more. I'm the person that can close the gap.
Mm-hmm. And you've kind of already touched on this question a little bit, but as a student and as a member of True Kids 1, I'm particularly interested in why I should vote for you. What part of your platform is most relevant to youth?
All of it. Really all of it. Because as a young girl raised here, my dad died when I was 1 year and 7 months, and then my mom ended up having stage 4 cancer when I was a teenager, and I didn't know education was important. I really didn't. I thought, well, I need to go get a job, I need to figure this out, and I realized really quickly how important it was to go to school and how my life changed. I went from poverty to being able to make a difference in other people's lives. So my focus is 100% on teaching you. Like, I'm super proud of you sitting here. I would love to see you here saying, I'm running for office. Yeah, the youth are number one in my life.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. While we're still here, is there anything else important that you would like for us to know?
Oh, what I'd like you to know is that these fires are devastating the students I work with. Their families are super impacted. Let's keep them in mind. Let's really, really take a look at what is happening in our community to everyone. And I just want you all to keep those students, kids, people with trauma, the intergenerational patterns of trauma, this is impacting it. So you're going to see a lot more trauma. Let's just be kind to each other. Let's try to treat each other with respect.
Absolutely. Well,
thank you.
Thank you very much for being here and speaking with us today. This was a pleasure.
Oh, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome.